All right. So we're back on. I appreciate you guys being patient with us. We know everyone's getting overloaded from internet usage, doing overtime. While this is going, and I'm just back sharing it to my page. But while that's going and we're getting this caught up, Quentin, go ahead and just catch us up for those that might have missed those first few minutes. I know your story. You started back in 2016. Kind of what took you down the path, where you was working, those type of things.
Yeah, so just to catch up, I started my debt-free journey back in 2016, and it all started with my girlfriend basically letting me know, like, you got to get it together. I moved out of my house when I was, immature, and I was nowhere near as financially literate as I am now. So I was making a particular amount of money, but I didn't have enough to cover the bills and live the lifestyle that I was trying to live at the time. So once I heard that, came up late on rent a couple months in a row, and I haven't looked back. I started cleaning up my act and paying off this debt and just keeping it moving from there.
So, in order to start making progress, what was the first thing you actually did?
Well, first thing I did was Google. I Googled how to get out of debt.
Mm-hmm.
And once I Googled that, Dave Ramsey popped up, and I just dove headfirst into his content. All the stuff he was preaching, it was just hitting me right here. Everything is like reading the Bible. You're gonna find something that relates to your current situation. And his teachings are, kind of Christianity based, and he's got a lot of teachings that people can relate to. And I felt that. I dove into it, and that's what made me turn a new leaf. So once I heard what he was saying, I made my very first budget. So I created a budget in 2016. I was 27 years old when I made my very first budget. And that was a huge milestone for me. I never knew how to create a budget. I basically didn't know what a budget was. I used to write certain things down, but once I really laid it out, it made me understand things a lot better.
And like, if you're anything like me, like I was not good at math when I was in school. So when you wrote the budget, what really started to make sense? What could you see if you could kind of think back to that kind of first moment?
Well, what I saw was that I had more month left over than the money.
Okay.
So my income just wasn't high enough to do the things that I was trying to do. Like I said, I would only have enough to cover my bills sometimes. And some things I would just, like, I was paying my cell phone bill months late on purpose because I was playing that catch-up game. Like, I was always negative $100 because of everything else that took priority over a cell phone.
Okay. And then I know the previous cast, so that was back in 2016, you was making about 18K. So what are some of the things you did to try to get your income up?
So before I tried to transfer jobs, because the one job I was at making 18K, I was there for 10 years, basically. Well, 9 years, 9.5 years going on 10. And I realized it was kind of a glass ceiling. So I moved around. I've done multiple positions in that particular job to increase my income, as well as trying to do as much OT as possible. So anytime they were offering overtime, I was jumping on it. Anytime they were offering a new position will open that'll, pay a little bit more, I put my bid in for that. And I was just keeping my eyes open to new opportunity, basically. Because I didn't necessarily want to leave the company, even though I knew, like, okay, I'm pretty much capped. I'm at a cap here that I can't surpass. So that's when I finally had to leave. But before I left, I made sure I did everything I could within that system to kind of, open up that income a little bit.
Open up that income to it. No, that's awesome. And then I think you mentioned on the other stream, like, you didn't pick up like any extra jobs to like year 2, because we're talking about you paid off 3,000 over a span of about 4 years. But that first year, you really kind of were working on the income piece.
Yeah.
So the second year was when you said you kind of picked up the other job.
Yeah, that's when it made sense to me. It's like the further I got into it, you hit these little momentum strides. Like sometimes you figuring it out. When you first start, you figuring it out. You start slow. Yeah, you excited, but you don't necessarily hit that stride. Once you create the budget, once you get a hang of everything, and once you say, okay, you get your footing, that's when you say, okay, now I could pick it up a notch. Now I could step it up because I know what I'm doing from here. So the next thing I need to know is like how to make more money. I pick up the second job because I wasn't focused on figuring out the budget at the time. Me in particular, I can only do one thing at a time. That's what I noticed is when I start doing too many things and spreading myself too thin, then it gets messy and I don't get anything done. So I always have to focus on one thing at a time and then go from there.
Mm. Oh, that's awesome. And then what was the second job? Was that something you picked or that's something you like? Because I know you liked that first job, so that's why you did everything in that one. But that second job where you were adding just extra income, was it just something like, hey, it paid?
The second job was definitely something that paid a bit more than the first job, and it was also something that was close in proximity, so I can get off one job and just move over to the next without losing too much of my day or commuting too far. So I was relatively in the same area, so I would leave one job and then go to the next. But the second job, I don't think most people would even admit to this, but I was a janitor. I was a janitor working at a rec center. So I was building maintenance. I'm cleaning basketball courts. I'm
Wow.
cleaning bathrooms, cleaning toilets, cleaning locker rooms, doing all this stuff for
Okay.
$13.50 an hour. But it was bringing in an extra paycheck, so I rocked
Yeah.
with it for a couple years.
Okay. Oh wow. You kept it for a long time. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
was that like overnight type thing?
Yeah, that was the hard
Okay.
part too. It was a weird shift. So it was part-time, but I was working 9 p.m. to 1 a.m.
Oh,
So it was just 4 hours a night. And then whenever they would need me for like any other overtime, they would call me. But that was rare. That was rare as well.
if you could go ahead and run down the type of debt you had, but then also, what do you think were the real true things that helped you keep pace for 4 years to kind of keep going?
So student loans was the major debt. That was
Uh-huh.
30K. Bank charge off from Chase. That was the second highest. That's 1,300. $1,000 for my car because I needed a car to get around.
Right.
That was the third debt, and the fourth, the smallest one, being a $500 personal loan from my best friend. I was 33K in debt, and I went on a vacation to Mardi Gras, and my friend
Uh,
loaned me $500 for that. So that was the last one, and then after that, I just did the snowball method. So I paid off the smallest one all the way to the largest one, which was the student loans. And that's the one I finished paying off recently. But 4 years, all I had to do was constantly remind myself why I was doing it. When I first started, I said I wanted to get out of debt to relieve some stress because I was under extreme stress. I didn't tell you this in the beginning, but I was getting my wages garnished at
oh
work.
wow.
So I was in debt for a long time. I graduated college in 2010 and they didn't start hounding me until 2014. So I kind of ignored them. I didn't try to
Right.
pay them back at all. They were sending me letters, sending me emails. They was calling me and I was just ignoring them and acting like I was just ignoring them.
Right.
And after 2014, that's when they sent me a letter and that's when I got my check and seeing that the Department of Education had took their money from me since I didn't want to be responsible enough and pay them back.
Oh wow. Oh
So I
man.
was getting my wages garnished for 2 years. When
Oh wow.
2014 they started, I didn't do anything different, man. I kept doing the same thing, acting like my situation was going to change itself. So
Okay.
they took 15% out of each paycheck, and they
Okay.
also took my tax return. So they took my
Okay.
tax return for 2 years straight. After that second year, that's when I also got the scolding from the missus. So that all
Right.
that combined was just like, all right, you got to do this for you, and you got to do this to at least own yourself, like hold yourself accountable. Like you took out these loans, you said you was gonna pay it back. Now you got to do it.
Right. And I think that's a big piece because even when I tackled it, because I mean, you just like me, go to school. When you sign up for student loans, I think next to a car loan, student loans is one of the most. I use the term ignorant, meaning the person on the other side who signs it has no clue what they're signing when it comes to a student loan. You know what I mean? A car loan, it happens a lot, but it's people are becoming a little bit more attentive. But student loans, you have, again, you got these kids. Hey, I'm supposed to go to school. Some of the people that have student loans didn't finish, so that even makes you more mad because you're like, dang, I got all this debt. 30, 40, $50,000 worth of debt. I don't have the degree. I'm mad. I was like, didn't nobody even tell me I was going to be on this type of money? And so it just weighs on you, you know what I mean, as you sit there and you try to make your $30,000 or $40,000 a year, and you're like, what happened? Because you're like, I didn't ask for that debt, but you did, and you don't understand the terms of the debt. Yeah. And then again, student loans, they make it so easy for you to get it because it's literally just, oh, you need some money for a refund, or you need some money to get some food or some shoes, or like you said, you want to party. Everybody want to party every weekend, so you got to have an outfit for that. Refund check city.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, so understanding that, I think that's a big piece for all of us that, yeah, you can face up. If you can just get yourself to the point that, okay, I took out this debt. Okay, I did it. But just because I took it out, I paid it off, I'll own that. But I ain't going to do that one again. Or if I'm taking out debt, like you might take out a mortgage or something like that to buy a house, I'm going to understand a little bit more about the terms so I can really kind of weigh, do I really want to go down this path? You know what I'm saying? Is there something else? Is there a different way? And I think that's the biggest piece about that. But student loans, I think really, I'm personally sensitive about that fact because I work with so many people, and it doesn't take anything. Everybody believes they should pay off their credit cards. Everybody believes they should pay off their auto loan. People even believe they should pay off their house. But when it comes to student loans, people be like, yeah, I paid off my credit card, but don't talk to me about student loan. We'll talk about that later. You know what I mean? But we have to do that. And it's like you said, when you take that personal responsibility, that's the other piece that opens up the opportunity on the other end. Because now you're starting to see like, okay, I'm going to start trying to find some solution to this problem and stay with it. So yeah, I mean, that's just so good. So you paid off 33 grand in 4 years. You stay focused. You definitely celebrate along the way. And it wasn't big things. You, like you said previously, hey, I hit $200. I hit 1,000. Hey, I paid this debt off. Hey, I did a budget. You know what I mean? Hey, I was able to decrease a cost. How vital, and if you did it for 4 years, I'm going to assume you were doing your budget consistently. How big a piece is that consistency to you, to the whole equation?
Budgeting is literally everything. Like without a budget, you basically either have to have an amazing memory, like a out of this world memory, or you gonna make mistakes and you're not gonna know anything. You have to make a budget. That's essential. That's essential to. And I don't spend one penny without knowing where that thing went. And before I even have the app, because I have this app called Every Dollar by Dave Ramsey, and it tracks. You can log everything, put all your line items in there, and then as you spend, you can go in there and adjust your numbers accordingly. But before that, I was just writing them down. I was doing the envelope system, so I knew I needed $600 for rent. So whenever I would get paid, I would put the $600 in that envelope. I would put the $20 for my haircut in the haircut envelope.
Absolutely.
I would put, and just whatever allocations that may be. But it all starts with developing that muscle, because it's a habit you have to acquire, man. You need to develop that muscle of budgeting and that discipline, because that's basically all it is, man. It's discipline and developing a good habit.
But I think to your point, your first year you were working on your income, so you were tracking as you were building up income. You're looking at this budget, and it's kind of giving you a little bit more like margin, and you're starting to see. So if you were building up your income, which a lot of people do, if you're already spending 18, 30, 40, $50,000, it's so easy when you're not tracking because again, if you don't have a good memory, but no month is the same. No, I don't. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time, but real talk. I mean, who could thought we've been in a pandemic? But no month is actually the same. You plan for that, and I'm a yearly budget. I have my system, but the fact is, there are some months where I'll just do better from a business standpoint or a work standpoint, or something to happen, and I have my goals. But how I laid out my goals isn't exactly how I got to my goals. You think you're gonna save 600 a month, but there are gonna be some months where you do 200, and then there'll be another month where you be like, "Oh, I got 1,500 to throw at this thing." But to you, it don't matter because at the end of the day, you're like, "Shoot, did I get to my goal of whatever I was trying to save?" But the budget piece is ultra so important. So you paid off your debt back in March. Now you're on. If you're following Dave Ramsey plan, baby step 3. How long do you think it'll take before you get that fully funded emergency fund done?
I believe that'll take maybe another 2 to 3 months, depending, because with the baby and with everything that's going on, like you said, I am working a lot. Like, I'm one of the essential workers who's out here on the front line. I'm doing a lot of overtime too, so that's a plus. I work for the railroad right now, and I'm on these trains, and we're sanitizing these trains as well as the electrical part. I'm a carman, coach cleaner, and we're out there. I'm doing 40, 50, 60 hours a week every week. And ever since then, I'm just trying to stack any extra dollar I can, so I can see myself building up that 3 to 6 months of living expenses in maybe 2-3 months max, because my expenses in general are extremely low. I probably got $1,500 that goes out every month, and I'm making about 60K right now, 60K annually. So it's a lot of upside right now, and I'm just trying to stay focused and stay on it because I want to build it up as fast as possible.
So, I mean, you're probably coming into a couple months now, so you already have some savings set aside, whether it's stimulus or I think you even put a video out where you just threw that in the savings. What, as opposed to debt, and I became a big saver. I'm a big laser focused, disciplined person. What does having that savings, how has that kind of changed your reality of money and a financial stability type thing? Even like you said, you're working 50 something hours. So for me, once I didn't have the debt, I'm like, dude, I'm making all this, everything is mine. So every extra dollar is mine. But what I like to hear from your perspective, like, what, now that you're starting to see the savings, you don't have the debt, the debt's behind you. What do you actually see from an opportunity and how your life is different with knowing that saving is there?
It's a different feeling, and as crazy as it is, we always have like a small savings, right? The beginner emergency fund is $1,000, right? That's always gonna sit there, and that's cool. Like, you get that over and done with at the beginning, but right now it's like you don't really think about it, and that's the thing. When you have that emergency fund in place, like, things are gonna happen, but you don't necessarily think about it because you got that cushion, man. It's a peace of mind. It's relief. It helps you sleep better at night. I tell people all the time, like, I know for a fact I'm not living too crazy out here. Most that can happen, maybe, God forbid, knock on wood, car accident, maybe a little medical bill here and there, something like that. So you're never gonna overspend. You just know you're gonna have more than enough to go in there, as long as you don't do nothing crazy. But that's just what it is. Overall, it's peace of mind, in my opinion, because we get into these jams sometimes, and if you ain't got it, what you doing? You scrambling. You either taking out a loan to cover it, you're either using a credit card to cover it, you either trying to start a GoFundMe page or something crazy, man. And it's just unsettling. It's unsettling to have to do those things because it may take a while to kind of get all that extra income when you go in that route. But if you save it initially and you have it, you just go to the bank or you just go to your stash in your house and it's covered with no questions.
So when you look at your budget? And just before I get to that question, I do want just to say it a different way. As you start to save and as you start to build up, it people don't realize you start to say out into the world, well, this level of problem has to come to me for me to really be into an issue. So for me, like, I mean, it has to be something like a cancer or, say something really, really devastating from a financial sense for me to be like, oh, dad, we're gonna have to sell a house or something like that to get down. And that's kind of what the savings does to you. You're gonna have car repairs, you're gonna have all those different things. You got a kid now, kid's gonna grow, there are gonna be things the kid needs, those things are gonna come up. But it's one of those things where you're saying, oh, I need like a $20,000 emergency to happen to me, not a $200 or $400 emergency. And that's a different way of living. As we begin to, because I don't want to take up too much of your time, but as we begin to wrap up, what would you say were things that you've identified that people really kind of overspend on in their budget? That really, if they want to make some progress, hey, do this.
It's two. I think these two are equal, in my opinion. One is eating out, like your food budget. When you think about it, with the inflation, meal for under $10, like, right, you could go do some dollar menu stuff, but you still gonna be hungry. So you're gonna spend on average a minimum of $10 per meal. You do that 5 times a week, that's $50. That's $200 per month when you really think about it. So it's something that everybody could just scale back on eating out. If you do it once or twice, it's cool, but make your lunch at home, make your dinners at home. You'll save a whole lot of money there. You'll save thousands throughout the year. And the second one would be subscriptions. People got subscriptions to everything. You got Netflix, you got Hulu, you got Go Fresh, like you got all these food services.
Apple got like 3 subscriptions just within itself.
Bro, you got Thread, Beast, Apple Music, you got all these subscriptions, right? And you can only utilize one thing at a time. Think about what you use the most, and whatever you don't use or whatever you use maybe once a year, get rid of that, because you got a reoccurring charge right there. And a lot of stuff you may not even use, but you forgot you had it, but yet you never went in there and unsubscribed, so you still getting hit with that $14 a month. Mm-hmm. That's blindly like taking you out the game right now.
Right. So good. So good. Q, I definitely appreciate you coming on, sharing your story. I got one more question for you, but before I do that, let people know kind of how they can connect with you. Again, I know I mentioned you got your YouTube page. Money Talks has a YouTube page, but you have a YouTube page. He even talks about a lot of the things even more in depth, because I think you called yourself the Sandwich King in one of the videos. Like you was anti eating out. So
sandwich God.
Yep. Yeah. How
he is I.
Right. How can they kind of connect with you and even support you on your journey as you continue to develop, being a new father, all those type of things?
So I'm on YouTube and Instagram mainly at Q Makes It Happen on YouTube, Q Makes It Happen on Instagram. And those are the platforms I utilize more frequently. And all I share on there is uplifting things, positive things, similar to my Facebook, but I go more the financial route because I understand each platform is different. Nobody wants to get constantly beat over the head with finance talk. So I kind of sprinkle it into my Facebook, but I go in on my YouTube channel. That's all I talk is money. All I talk is finance. All I talk is mindset, because that's what's important. Once you figure that out, you realize how important it is. Nobody wants to talk about it. It's extremely taboo, and it shouldn't be. It really shouldn't be. So me being relatively young, me being African American, we need this message to be out here. You know, for a fact, I didn't learn this stuff growing up. Nobody taught me about this. I had to put Google to use. I learned all this stuff 4 years ago when I was 27 years old. And yeah, that's early, but we can learn it much earlier. So the more people I can reach, the better. And I don't know it all. I'm still learning, and that's the beauty of it. You learn every day, every time you do something different. You learn from each other, and y'all just push the agenda and push the message forward, man.
No, definitely appreciate it. So my last question for you. I know for me, again, I'm just honored that you were willing to share your story and kind of talk about it. But one of the things that is abundantly clear is no matter how long it's going to take, you can get to the end of your debt. You can get a little bit, and it might not even be debt that's standing in your way. You can get control of your money. And by getting control of your money, you have a little bit more of an ally to give you options in life. But Q, if you could just kind of speak a little bit to that person who, hey, they might be kind of sitting in debt. They feeling a little pressure. They know they need to do it, but they may know they need to do it, or they don't even realize what's going on. They just kind of out there. Just give them a few words of encouragement as we begin to shut out. So I guess it ain't a question, but a request.
No, I completely understand. And what I will say is that everything that you're thinking, everything that you felt, I felt the same exact thing. Like, I tried to run from my debt, but that debt ain't going nowhere. I tried to run from my financial missteps, and what I learned is that by ignoring it, by putting it on the back burner, by not facing your problems, dealing with your situation head on, you're only doing yourself a disservice. Like, you're actually hurting yourself. I only had $16K worth of student loan debts, but the fact that I ignored it, it actually defaulted. We didn't talk about that. My student loans went into default, and that $16K turned into $30K because that's how interest works. Once you realize how interest works, it just opens your eyes to so many things. So you can avoid multiple mistakes by just facing it head on. You can save yourself heartache and years of debt, and you can actually avoid not really having that life of prosperity. And another thing I will say too, like, it's difficult to know that you have debt, right? It's stressful. It's difficult to know that you might not necessarily have the money to take care of what you're trying to take care of, but it's also difficult, to kind of get out of that hole. So it's basically what difficult do you want to deal with? Because none of it's going to be easy. It's going to be difficult to be in debt. It's going to be difficult to get out of debt, but you got to figure out your priorities and what's more important to you.
So good. Definitely appreciate you for popping on again. Follow him on YouTube and Instagram. YouTube, Q Makes It Happen. The Money Talks has a YouTube page. Appreciate you all joining. If you're not a part of Money Talks group, please join that. Again, we're in Financial Literacy Month. I'm still doing free financial coaching because I want to meet you where you are. That's what Money Talks is. We want to meet you where you are so that we can help you kind of take those next steps forward. But thanks for being on again, Q. And thank you all for watching in.
Thanks a lot, Jonathan. I appreciate you.